Welcome to Surgeon Syndicate. If you're paying attention, you know that you only make money when you work. It might be great money, but it's dependent on you. The information on this podcast will help you solve that. We interview experts and provide analysis into financial freedom through commercial real estate. Why? To help physicians like you thrive. Let's dive in.
Welcome to Surgeon Syndicate. This is your host, Dr. Michael McManus. And today we're going to do our last episode on my relocation journey because it's just been such a fun story. We finished the last episode. We were talking about the movers moving the owner's stuff out and us getting ready for the move-in. And this has been the hardest move because downsizing is hard. We got rid of so much stuff before we moved, but there's so much left. And organizing is hard when you still have too much stuff and you're trying to figure out where to put it. And you think you've downsized certain things, but then you realize, like just the number of coffee mugs you have is crazy, way too much for the storage space in the kitchen now. Where before it made no difference. We had a big cabinet and didn't even realize how many. And now when we're really getting into the moving in part. So our first, we got everything ready and opened up and our first truck came and we got that unloaded. And that was its own circus because we brought extra stuff that we were going to get rid of that was for my daughter's apartment. And so when they're unloading the truck, we've got this whole chaos going on of, move that in the house, that goes into the other truck to go to storage, and that goes into the other truck to go to my daughter's house, and then trying to separate those two. But we got that done. It took a couple extra trips because, there was leftover stuff that was supposed to have been left in storage when we got to my daughter's house. But we got that done. It just, again, added another layer to this whole chaos. So now we're trying to get finished moving into the house. And the second truck is late because we use this U-Pack service. And they're smaller trucks than your standard giant moving truck. And so, because they're ones that can be put on a train or they can be pulled in tandem. And so we had about 1.5 trucks. So now the second truck is late, probably because it's part of their deal. If you don't fill a truck, they can rent that space out to somebody else. So that truck went on a little detour with our stuff up front. The hard thing is that the stuff that's in that now are furniture, tools, and shelves. And this has really delayed the organization when we're trying to figure out where we want to put furniture and to put up shelving to organize stuff on. So we're waiting on that and we're figuring it out as we go. And again, the weather has been hot. This whole move so far has been the hottest week of the year here in Salt Lake City. Usually we're in the low 90s here. And finally, we're back to that. But during most of our move, we were in the hundreds. And man, hats off to the movers because those kids were tough. And so again, I'm going to make a plug here for a company called College Movers, especially College Movers of Green Bay and Salt Lake City. They were awesome on short notice and with changes. They got us people. The guys who came were respectful. They took good care. They really tried to do a good job. They were efficient. And everything took about the amount of time they said it would. So I have nothing but good thing to say for College Movers. Now, this is a different company from College Hunks. College Hunks were the first service we hired in Green Bay. And I don't know anything about this service nationwide, but our experience in Green Bay, again, was they were poorly trained and we kind of ended up with poor service. We paid the bill for the time they were there, even though we had to redo it. But then they never sent us an invoice, and we had to contact the national company to get an invoice. And then the invoice comes and says, "Oh, you still owe us, you haven't paid." So now we're sending them, confirmation of the payment. It was all done electronically, so now we know they keep poor records. And we would like to have the actual invoice receipt for tax purposes. But again, this has just been another big challenge of this move. So tying this back to real estate, it's interesting when you're moving in, it's easy to talk to people. Hey, I'm new to town, talking to people in our neighborhood and some great people. Remember, real estate's about your network. And already in the first week, we've identified multiple vacant properties that are worth pursuing. And why do I say, vacant properties? These are properties that kind of seem to have been lost. Now we haven't done the full due diligence on these or even been able to find the owners yet and get in touch with them. Sometimes vacant properties are vacant and they're going to stay that way and there's nobody looking to sell. But sometimes you find whether these have gone through an inheritance or a bankruptcy or something, they're sitting on the books somewhere and have just been forgotten about and can be some great deals and some great investments. And again, this all comes from getting out and talking to people and increasing the size of your network. Um, the other things from the real estate standpoint is, sometimes you have to let good deals go when you can't confirm that they're really a good deal. And this comes down to a deal I've been looking at for multiple months now that we've been talking to the broker on. And this is a Class A office space in the Midwest. Initially, the price was too high. Even with the price coming down in its area, there was a lot of quality office space opening up. And we know now in the office market that there's a lot of leases coming due that people aren't renewing, that aren't having workers come back to the office. Now, we've talked about this before. I think there's a lot of evidence out there that says eventually, long term, we're going to see people coming back to the office because a lot of companies have indicated they would like to have people back in the office. But right now, the leverage is more with the employees who want to stay home. And again, they want to have them back in the office, not because they're mean and they don't like people being at home. They just aren't seeing the same productivity, collaboration, and creativity with people being at home. Now, there's a lot of people who will argue the other side of this. But anyway, coming back to this office space, yeah, I really didn't want to move forward with this with it only partially rented. So when we first looked at it, the building was empty, and it's a large office building that had a larger employer in it. And then there was some interest in leasing out parts of it. So where it's at now is, it's there's kind of an upstairs and a downstairs, and the downstairs is about half the size of the upstairs. So it's broken into about three parts, kind of. So there's two tenants looking at moving in upstairs, and those will probably complete lease signing here in the next couple months. Now, because there's solid interest and because that process is strong, this makes it a much stronger deal, but there's still a little risk here that these leases don't get done. So this is the value add play. If you buy it right now, you're taking more risk, but as soon as those leases are signed, the value is going to go up. There's also more value add in leasing out the final third of the building. So the problem has been is that with the changes and the things that are fluid right now is with everything I have going on with this crazy move, there just hasn't been time to give this time or really mental bandwidth to apply to this to really confirm that things are as good as they seem with this moving forward. And I think this is a time, especially in the office space, there's not a hurry to jump into deals. So it hurt a little bit, but I had to be honest with myself that, maybe in a month I'll have this bandwidth, but I don't have it now. If the building's still available in a month, we might take a look at it again, but it looks like they got a couple offers coming in here in the next week. So it probably won't be. So again, there's enough deals in the world. You don't have to be in a hurry, especially if you have too much going on. And that means you can't do appropriate due diligence. So, so this has kind of been the tough thing here with the move, and it's been such a distraction. It's been nice to take a little time off, but it hasn't really been time off because everything going on, and so then it's like, when and how do you restart and really understand your bandwidth? And, a doctor problem has always been trying to be imperfect and not, or trying to be perfect and avoid being imperfect and not taking action in things like real estate. And again, with being a doctor, you don't want to give the wrong pill and hurt somebody. You don't want to do a bad surgery and hurt somebody. So you really, there's a level of perfection you need. But when you're working as an entrepreneur, success is more consistent with massive, consistent action. And if you can't be consistent and you can't take that massive action, then you're not going to have the same kind of success. So it's not about being perfect, but about this massive, consistent action. And I still don't think I have the bandwidth to be consistent with everything going on. Now, this has been tough because I started building my network here in Salt Lake City a while ago, and now I've been kind of having to hold potential partners at bay a little bit while I get to a space that I can actually be a good partner to work with. And this has been tough because I'm excited about this, man, and I'm ready to move forward and get this going. But we're still finishing up this move. And so I look back and I'm like, why has this been the hardest move yet? Because we've moved a lot. I mean, the longest I've been in one home has been 5 or 6 years. And, with everything going on here, there's been a lot of other things. So I was just looking at all these, and it's like, I was quitting a partnership, not just a job. So it's an exit from an ownership, and there's a lot of things going on with that, including some pension fund deals that have all taken time and energy. I'm leaving a full time career. We talked about how that was kind of anxiety provoking, although there was a long lead into it. And I've heard from so many people who left the stable career for more of an entrepreneurial path, or even just downsizing their expenses and becoming retired or semi-retired, how hard it can be. And there's something mentally, emotionally that goes in, something out of the lizard brain that says this is not a safe move, even when we know it's a good move. So that's been tough. Having my last kid graduate from high school, the amount of time and energy that went into graduation parties and going in other kids' parties and all these things. And then as soon as we're getting done with that, she's getting ready for college. She's actually right now at her college orientation. So she has one of her biggest changes in life going on, which also draws a lot of time and energy out of the family. And then her other kid has been overseas going to school in Europe over the summer, and she's returning home during the move and then also moving into her first house because she lived in the dorms last year. So this again is one of life's giant steps forward. Also, she's very excited. It gets kind of scary. And are we doing this right? And you're dealing with now, purchasing things to put in the house with roommates and what's the right stuff and who's paying for it. So there's been a whole lot going on there. And now making commercial real estate my primary thing, especially in the world that I like, this industrial and retail space, takes creative energy and time. And this is time where you can set back and let the rest of the world melt away and think about things. Or, but it's hard to be creative when you're really stressed. And we're working as a doctor when you're 20 years into it. A lot of it is just showing up and doing the grind. And that was part of why I got bored. But there can be a lot of things going on the side, but at work, you're just there and you're doing the grind. And so there's a difference between when you need to go into creative mode and when you're just kind of showing up. So that's been tough. And the interesting thing is through all of this, although I thought I was going to retire completely, we've decided for multiple reasons that I'm going to do some locums. And this also has to do with building my network, with getting out and meeting people, but also bringing in a little bit of more stable income, just for fun, because it's not a whole lot of work. But as soon as we decide to do this, realize that both my Wisconsin license, and I've got to apply for additional licenses, and my board certification are all coming due at the same time. So it's just added a whole other layer here. So, when you go through these changes, and if you're looking to be work optional and make these moves, there's a lot of things that go into it. And some of it you can plan for. Some of it, until you're in the process, you don't even know. So this whole process is a little more entrepreneurial, unlike being a doctor. To go to school, go to college, go to med school, go to residency, get a job. Somebody's there to teach you and mentor you the whole way. Where on the entrepreneurial side, often, you don't know what you don't know. And you don't find out what you don't know until you start and you start digging into it. And this has been this whole transition into being semi-retired, and being more in the private equity commercial real estate is a lot of the things that I need to do. Until I start moving forward, I don't even see them. And with the downsizing, it's the same thing. So for anybody out there who's looking to make the jump, looking to quit, looking to move into commercial real estate, this is not going to be perfect. You have to move forward to get going. And I think the key is move and move on things that have low risk of failure or the consequences of failure are low. Meaning, especially that if you go, well, if I fail at this, what happens? What do I learn? And if it's a great learning experience, man, those are the best, because then it's not really a failure. It's the thing you were trying to do didn't work out, but you still learn. So this is all exciting stuff right now. And I'm starting to get excited about it. I think we're kind of trudging through the mud and we're about to the other side here. But this moving to work optional from a really steady, stable job can be hard. If you're looking to quit, you're looking to jump ship, you're looking to build something out of commercial real estate, these can be hard things. So if you'd want to talk about it, you want to get some insight in it, happy to talk to any of you guys out there. I appreciate you listening to the show. The show's doing great, and it's all because of you. If you'd like to book a call and reach out, this is just a discussion about you and what we can do to serve you. You can go to surgeonsyndicate.com and book a call there. So I appreciate your time today. I hope this has been some value to you, at least humorous, or make you feel better about your situation if yours has been easier than mine. But thank you for joining us, and join us for the next episode of Surgeon Syndicate.
This has been an episode of Surgeon Syndicate. If you got value from this episode, you know other surgeons are hungry to become job optional, and you can help them by sharing this content today. Schedule a call and we can make a plan. Looking forward to having you with me on the next episode.